Welcome again to another preview video of my PC project, Magical Fairy Force Champion Edition, the expanded follow-up to my also upcoming Atari 5200 game. Now, at this point, I've kind of forgotten a lot of the things I've showed off so far in these videos, so there's probably going to be a bit of overlap here. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll start with the arcade mode so I can show off some of the new character artwork. And I can't remember, again, how many of these have been shown, so I'll just show them all. So we are in the process of just doing redesigns on all the characters. And there's only 2 left to do now at this point, which is great. The one I just got was Fruity here, and I love the way this came out. Just the look of determination is pretty impressive. These 2 characters are the 2 that have not been reworked yet. This is still the original artwork from the Atari version. So those will be coming up shortly. And then we have one very angry cat and the evil queen herself. So lots of great stuff in there. I've also just slapped some textures on my programmer art map for the sake of making things look interesting, but it's not very good. Now, some another area I've put a lot of work into is the gallery. And I've put together a full character biographies section, and if you choose a character, you'll get the screen with a little scrolling text box with sort of a story background for each character. It's not a lot right now, but it's there. Like I said, we're still waiting for some of the artwork to come in for some of these characters. But that's looking pretty good. I'm very happy with that. And what I've also added is a gallery full of media from the original Atari game, which I think is really interesting to look at. And this is mostly a look at game screens and the original art, so you can see where these characters came from, what they looked like originally. You can see here, it's got the entire roster of the Atari game with the original artwork that was done for that game, along with screenshots. So it's just a fun little thing I threw in there for anyone who's interested in it. And here's what some of the physical Atari stuff will look like when it comes out. These are not final images, but they're close enough. I'll probably go back and edit these once I have the real thing in my hand. And another thing that I put together is some enhancements to the color edit mode. In fact, I've gone ahead and created the 8 default color palettes for one of the characters already. You can see here I can flip through them and they'll change. I have here this might be my favorite one, the Joe Cool palette. But these are the 8 predefined palettes that I've gone ahead and created. And there are 8 slots for user created palettes. So for each character you'll be able to create and save 8 different palettes of your own for a total of 16. So you're going to have a lot of color options for each character, and there are a lot of fun things you can do with this. This is the only character that's completely fleshed out at this point. I haven't really started working on any of the others. And these color choices still do not yet move forward into the game itself. I can't do that until all of the character artwork has been revamped to support the color indexed graphics that I'm using for this. So that will look really great once it's ready. And since there's only 2 characters left to do, it shouldn't be too long before I'm able to start moving the color edit stuff into the game itself. And I can't wait to see how well that turns out. And I think the last thing I really want to show off is the attachment system. And this is something that I put together for the first character we did that had wings. And the main reason I did this was because the hit detection is based on the character's in-game sprites. But I didn't want the wings to participate in hit detection. So I wanted to have the wings as a distinct object so I could still draw them but exclude them from the hit detection. So I came up with a generalized system for what I'm calling attachments, which are objects that we can just stick to the characters. And the wings are the first example of that. And I'll demonstrate the wings by just starting a tournament with this character in it. So this character has wings. So if I start the match, you'll see the wings here on the character. And those are actually a separate entity. They're independent of the underlying character. And those work well enough. But I came up with another attachment. And that's a neat little sparkle trail. And one of the things I've been trying to come up with is an explanation for how some of these characters are able to fly. In the Atari game, I just gave everybody wings for the sake of mostly graphical convenience, and with respect to the limitations of that system, that was just the easiest and most effective thing to do. But here, I don't really want to go that route, and I want to have some more variety in how these characters are kind of propelling themselves. And I started playing around with this idea of sparkle trails as a graphical effect, and I started thinking that maybe that could be connected to how these characters are flying. And the first character that I put the sparkle trails on is Pink here. So if you look closely, you might not see it on the video, but as she's moving around, she's leaving this trail of sparkles behind her. And I thought, maybe that has something to do with how she's flying. And I think the idea I'm kind of moving toward right now is that she has magic shoes. So I may move the sparklers to emit from the shoes. And I also plan to interface the color edit mode with these attachments. So the sparkle trail, the color of it will pull from one of the colors in the palette. I haven't decided exactly which one it's going to be yet. It may be the shoes are actually two different colors. So we'll have to figure out how that's going to go, but we'll see if we can see the sparkle trail again here in this little tournament. And, well, here's something else you can see that I added that is just kind of silly, but I really like, is a confetti engine, so to speak. So here on the tournament victory screen, there's a big confetti drop, which was a lot of fun to create. I'm really proud of how that came out. Now, I've also added the sparkler to one other character, and that's the evil Queen Zavasha. And for her, she actually has two of them because she has this magic in her hands. And I thought, maybe that's how she's flying, is because of this magic in her hands. So if you look at this one here, she's got two sparkle trails coming out of her hands. And that came out looking really well. I really like how that looks. So the attachments are a really exciting thing, and we've discussed the idea of having some sort of character customization where you'll just be able to choose from a menu of various things you can stick to your character, just to personalize them. So it'll be sort of an extension of the color edit mode where you don't just change colors, but you get to customize them. And a lot of like 3D fighting games offer things like that, where you have a variety of different things like hats, and I mean, we won't be able to go as far as clothing options because we're dealing in 2D sprites here. But just sort of things that can be pasted on or underneath the characters, because the way the attachment engine works is it supports attachments either above or below the characters, which just affects the order in which they're drawn. So there'll be a lot of interesting things we can play with there. So I think that's about all I have to show off for now. One thing I am planning to do once the last two character redesigns come in is to put together a sort of preview trailer that has more or less a breakdown of all the features in the game and how those are going to look. It's going to be very primitive because there's still a lot of placeholder art, things like that in there. But I do want to have something, and it also give me some practice making more complex videos, so I'm really looking forward to that. And the short-term goal right now is to come up with a fully playable demo that we can use to start the process of getting onto Steam. And the demo will more or less have the same content as the Atari game. So it'll have the original 8 characters, their one original special attack, and some of the game modes. Many of them will be cut and only available in the full game that you will pay for. But I like the idea of games having demos. It's something that you just don't see often enough anymore. It used to be really common. So I wanted to do a demo anyway, and I think that this would be a good opportunity to, for one thing, just start working through the process of how you get a game onto Steam, and hopefully have something there for people to mess around with. So I think I'll be saying goodbye for now, and stay tuned to this channel for further updates.